Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendel joins us now to talk more about how the county continues to combat the COVID-19 outbreak. Executive Wendel, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, earlier this week, we saw 2 days in which the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 didn't rise. What does that tell you and your team about the status of this outbreak?
Well, we look at the data that it comes in every day, and looking at that, could it be said, we're seeing a slowdown potentially, but then yesterday we reported 2 more positive cases. So, we just have to take the information as it comes day to day. It's a very fluid situation, and we evaluate the data that comes in and try to get a handle on that as we move forward.
Now, this week, your office, along with many governments around the state, extended their state of emergency declarations. Now, some of our viewers seem to draw some criticism because state officials say it appears that the worst is behind us. Can you explain why the extension was made?
Well, I spoke with our legal counsel, and as we looked into this, when we first issued the declaration of emergency, the emergency declaration, FEMA had not been activated. So I wanted to make sure that the residents of the county, our towns, our municipalities were all protected. And by continuing that, we believe that it would also keep us eligible for any FEMA funds moving forward. If the governor lifts the ban, we lift the ban as well. We could end the state of emergency at any time. But I wanted to make sure that we did not jeopardize any FEMA reimbursement. So continuing extending our state of emergency did not elevate our status at all. Status remains the same. And as we're able to, cancel that state of emergency, we will do so when we're able. But I wanted to make sure that we didn't jeopardize any FEMA funding as we move forward. Usually FEMA is there in the side of an emergency or disaster. So you see, the damage done, but right now we don't. So I didn't want to put anybody's municipality, towns, or the county at risk of potentially not getting funding. We don't know how this is going to play out. So continuing that's 30-day state of emergency, we felt confident would also keep us eligible for any FEMA funding.
And you're exactly right in that sense, where if we normally think of a state of emergency being declared, we think of some sort of severe flooding or tornado or something like that, or big fire. But in this case, it's almost like the ailment is invisible in a sense.
It is. Some have called it an invisible war. I don't know if there's a real term for it, but there is. It's an invisible hurricane, an invisible storm that we don't see the damage. We can't look outside and say, oh, we're in a horrible situation, because depending on how you look outside, if you think the snow is any indication of things aren't well, then that's one way to look at it. But we don't see it as we would, like you said, Justin, in a storm or flooding. But we know it's out there. We know it's devastating everybody, including our finance, our businesses, our small economy. So we want to make sure that everyone is protected moving forward.
Now, Congressman Tom Reed tells us that each county in the district has observed some sort of acute shortage of masks within the last 30 days. Do you know if there's still any shortages out there here in Chautauqua County?
Right now, I know that the county does have a supply of masks that we are able to get to our healthcare providers and individuals that need them. We're focusing on our healthcare providers, our nursing homes, hospitals, healthcare, et cetera. That's where the focus is right now, to make sure our frontline workers are maintained and their safety is maintained. I have not heard, we get a daily report from John Griffith as of any shortages, but obviously there have been shortages throughout different counties in New York State and nationwide. There's still continues to be a shortage of the surgical mask, procedural mask, or N95. But at the county right now, we have an ample supply to take care of our needs.
How has cooperation between yourself, fellow county executives, and other officials in the state been? It seems like it'd be important in order to share information.
Oh, it is. When this first happened, we were meeting every night on a conference call with NYSAC, the New York State Association of Counties, and county executives, county administrators, county leaders across the state. We're all on conference calls, over 100 people on each call, and we are able to share information, continue to express concerns, share things that have worked, things that haven't worked. So it's been great. Myself, I'm in contact with Mark Polakars daily, whether it's an email or a text. just to see how they are. The other county executives from across the state, County Executive Albany County, Orange County, Westchester, I've reached out and asked if there's anything, they need from us, or if there's anything that, anything they could share. A lot of them have been sharing things as to what to do, how fast to get on the game, I guess you would say, and get things moving. So, yeah, a great deal of communication, a great deal of effort. Steve Aquario, the executive director of NYSAC, has been just instrumental in keeping everybody together and united. And in turn, I do the same thing here in Chautauqua County. It was 3 days a week. Now it's Mondays and Fridays. I have a conference call with all of our town supervisors, village mayors. And on Wednesday, I have a conference call with all of the highway superintendents throughout Chautauqua County. So, my conversations and my contact with other leaders across the state is continuing. And also I keep continuing the conversation with our local leaders to make sure they're aware of things and up to speed on the information I get.
Now, yesterday, Cattaraugus County, which isn't too far away, officials there announced that they're constructing a plan to build an expanded mortuary in the event that COVID deaths would increase. Does Chautauqua County have such plan, or will we soon?
We have a plan already. It's been implemented. We've just been waiting. We're in a stable position right now with only three. It was unfortunate 3 fatalities, but we do have plans in place. We do have a plan ready to go. We have people ready to mobilize quickly to get that into action. But we've been rest assured. We've been speaking with our local funeral directors, and they feel very confident that right now they are very capable of handling any increases that we would get. So, yes, we've reached out to the funeral directors. They're on board. They're ready to go. And also, we do have plans in case we need to create a temporary or makeshift mortuary morgue should the need arise.
Now, last week, you highlighted the dairy industry during one of your COVID updates online. And are local farms still dumping tremendous amounts of milk, or have we seen the sales go up a little bit once the awareness was made?
I haven't received any additional information on the dairy industry here in Chautauqua County. To my knowledge, our farms were not dumping their dairy products. We were still able to get that to market. But again, if that has changed, no one has reached out to me yet. And anyone listening, if you hear otherwise, feel free to contact my office. We keep in constant contact with the Cornell Cooperative Extension, and we haven't heard anything yet. But I know one of the concerns was, were there any bans still or limits to the number of dairy products you can buy? I haven't heard of any. Again, if people do hear of limits on dairy product purchase, please let me know. There should not be any. There have not been any limits here. Again, we're reassured that our health and food system are robust, and we want to continue. And again, help those local farmers, because it's local farmers that are producing milk. There's also the farmers that produce the grain to those dairy farms. So it's not just one group. There's other farms that are affected in this event, in this crisis, that deal with our dairy industry here in Chautauqua County.
And I would imagine, too, that just not during the COVID outbreak, but generally we want to try to have that mindset of supporting local, even though now business-wise it might not be as easy because you have to abide by social distancing. It's not like you can go out and have a sandwich at a local restaurant. But there's still a number of ways that people can get out there, and I know that website that the county has launched seems to be a really great resource for people.
It does, and you see people posting online, CHQ Buy Local, and it's really done a great. There's also another Facebook page, Restaurants to Go, I believe it is. Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure, but there is a Facebook page on the restaurants that are open. I'll tell you, if you go on, if you happen to catch it in your lunchtime and you're hungry, you're at a loss, because there's some great pictures of some phenomenal food there. But again, supporting those local businesses that are out there that are still maintaining their businesses during this crisis is important. I did my college time in Brockport, and the garbage plate's always been a nice delicacy for myself. So I know the Coach's Corner has brought back the garbage plate. So, seek out those restaurants, look at our website, and, visit the restaurants and patronize them, because, like everybody else, they're in this to help everyone. We've seen, as you saw, Basil and Bones has done a great outreach there with UPMC Chautauqua. So all of our businesses are doing the best they can for the residents of Chautauqua County, and just want to remind everybody to support them whenever you get a chance.
And I was about to ask about that. We're rolling some of the footage now from yesterday. People showing their support, whether it would be law enforcement, first responders coming out last week to UPMC to show their support. Now restaurants, and I know Basil and Bones is not the only one who has given back in that sense. What is, as a leader of the county, what's your reaction to that, to see all these people coming together?
If I lift my sleeve, I can show you the chills I have right now. It's amazing. It really and truly is amazing to show the heart and compassion of our residents here in Chautauqua County. You can't say enough. We may have differences. People may have issues throughout the time, but you know what? In every event of a crisis, and you know, being a volunteer fireman, I've seen this time and time again throughout the county. And any crisis we've had, whether it be natural disaster, you know, the disaster of fires or fatalities, people in Chautauqua County have always risen. They put their differences aside and they come together and work. And that's really what I embrace. The unity of this county is immense, and it can't be taken away. This COVID crisis cannot ruin our spirit. It cannot ruin the drive and the desire that people have here in Chautauqua County to help one another.
And you've really been championing that there on Facebook with your CHQ Strong hashtag. This week, you announced a new initiative to try to raise awareness to the importance of wearing face coverings. Now it looks like it's going to be a mandate for people here. What type of response have you seen from that initiative, and why is it so important to have those masks when out in public?
I think, you know, we've said it from the beginning. We tried to get ahead of it a little bit, and with our COVID team, and just as we started to announce that we should recommend this, the governor came out and recommended the homemade, I guess, or cloth face mask. And the emphasis I want to place to the viewers is that it protects others from you. You know, if it's a piece of cloth or something, it does not have the prevention of things permeating that, but it does prevent your droplets from being spread to other people. And that's really what we want to emphasize is it's the individuals wearing them. You're taking responsibility to protect your neighbors and protect those around you. I've been wearing mine for the last week. You know, when I stop, as I leave my house, I go from Lakewood to Mayville. That's about the extent of my travel. And I do stop and get a cup of coffee. And when I do, I have a great mask with flames on it in dedication to my 30 years in the fire service. And I wear that mask when I go in. And if I travel anywhere, I have it with me. I've got 2 vehicles, and I've got a mask in each vehicle. So if I get out, I have my mask on. It's important. You know, we really want it to stress to everybody. It's just that little bit of helping one another that really is important. Again, it's that unity, that love for your neighbor that we have here in Chautauqua County, and keeping everybody healthy is part of that.
Right, absolutely. And it seems like, too, with face masks, I know here in the newsroom now, everyone here has one. And yesterday I was actually at a scene reporting, and I had it on. And it's almost like putting gloves on, if you think about it, where if you go outside, have this available. And obviously, yeah, if you're far enough away from other people, you don't necessarily have to wear it over your face. But anytime you're within those 6 feet, it's very important. And I would imagine it's not so much about us, but about the other people.
Correct, and that's what we're doing, is we're protecting other people, and that's what we need to keep in mind when we do this. Yeah, yesterday I was on my way to our Falconer shop, and there was a fire in Jamestown. I stopped, and Chief Stellings was there, and his officers were wearing them. Firemen actually had their face masks on, their SCBA. So yeah, everyone's practicing the proper precautions, and it's really a matter of keeping everyone safe. And it's good people are picking up on it and continuing the effort.
Yeah. All right, Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendel, sir, we thank you so much for your time today, and we remind our viewers that tomorrow you'll be joined by Public Health Director Christine Schuyler for your 3 p.m. weekly update, and they can watch that live right here on WNY News Now.